Welcome to Swartz Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Les Swartz, a special Monday edition. Normally we're Wednesdays, but we are going Monday tonight. I want to first bring on, we're changing the lineup a little bit. This is a baseball show, a little bit of college baseball with a little local flavor. So let's bring on my co-host for tonight. You all know and love him, Benny the Book, the King of Carolina.
How you doing, Les, tonight?
I'm doing great, Ben. This should be interesting. This is the first time we've kind of talked this subject on the show.
Yeah, we got some good baseball being played here in the next few days.
We do, and we're going to talk about that. But before we bring on tonight's first guest, let's have our crack producer, Tony, run the opening reel.
3-2 pitch to McNamara. Swing and a miss. He gets him to strike out for the first out. Top of the third. 2-2 pitch by Taylor. Swing and a miss. Goes inside, gets the strikeout, gets the Seahawks out of the inning.
That would be our very own UNCW Seahawk baseball team. And tonight, now, baseball, they throw you curveballs, Ben. We got one late today. We were supposed to have Coach Randy Hood on today. Unfortunately, technical difficulties on his end. He was not able to make it. But the second part of our interview team is on today, and that is the voice of the UNCW basketball and baseball teams, as well as hosting the Front Row podcasts that can be seen on YouTube, Mike Vaccaro. Mike.
Les, great to be here, Les. I appreciate you having me on.
Mike is my neighbor. We live in the same town, and it's my first time to have the opportunity to meet Mike. So glad you could make it, Mike. Unfortunately, we'll get the coach back at another time. I guarantee that one. We'll make that one work.
Yeah, definitely. I know he apologizes for not able to be on here, but getting ready for the conference tournament, as you alluded to. UNCW hosting it. It'll start on Wednesday. UNCW won't play until Thursday night, but it should be an exciting tournament with 6 great teams in it, and have the field a chance maybe to get an at-large bid if they don't win the tournament. So it should be a fun week, and always great to have the CA tournament here. It's, I think, the 15th time that UNCW and Brooksfield is hosting that CA tournament. So it's always a fun week of baseball, and a chance to see some good talent, some good teams.
Now, as you alluded to, Wednesday we've got the first game, which is the prelim games. The first and second seed, the number 1 seed this year, Charleston, the Cougars seeded number 1, and UNCW number 2. So they have the byes. So you've got the William and Mary versus Delaware at 12 p.m., followed by Hofstra in Northeastern. Now, I'm old school, Mike. I was like the William and Mary Indians. That's not the Indians anymore. And the Hofstra Flying Dutchmen aren't the Flying Dutchmen anymore. They're the Pride. So, Benny, I got to get caught up on all these nicknames. It's been a while.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely in the CAA some unique history for sure. Just said Hofstra, the Flying Dutchmen. Now they're the Pride. Right. It was the Indians. Now it's the William and Mary Tribe. But 2 teams that didn't get in until the last weekend of the regular season. So it was a tight race. UNCW and Charleston, they knew they were getting the byes going into the final weekend, but a lot of things were up in the air. So it made it for some really exciting baseball at the end of the season.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about UNCW first, because obviously they're right here. You're the voice that you know them very, very well. Tremendous. A couple of weeks ago, and I'm not sure you can let us know the player that made the top 10 on ESPN with a tremendous catch that robbed someone, I think, at NC State of a home run.
Yeah, Brock Wills in left field. Last year as a freshman, he was a starting second baseman. He went to the Cape Cod League this past summer, knowing that he was going to be switching to the outfield. So he's only been out there, half the season because he started late with an injury to his hand. But it was a tight ball game against nationally ranked NC State. A tie game at the time, tied at 4, and it was certainly a home run, and he timed his jump perfectly, robbed the home run. UNCW would go on and win that game in extra innings, and Brock Wills made his way onto SportsCenter's top 10. So, yeah, outstanding play. probably the play of the year defensively for UNCW, and that's saying something because there's been some great play defensively throughout the year.
And let's talk table setters here for the Seahawks. You've got 36-19 this year. Trevor Marsh, I would say, comes to mind right away. 2023 first team All CAA. Looks like he's going to probably repeat again this year. Led the team in batting. Just a tremendous all-around player. Shows some power. With 14 homers, 79 hits. He leads the team in hits. So we got some great video of him right here with the double. Also, your call on that. So what can you give us on Trevor Marsh as we get into the tournament?
Yeah, he's a redshirt senior, so he's been around this program a long time, which is a big plus. There's a lot of veteran players on this team. He's certainly one of them, and he's been very consistent. As you said, he's their top hitter. He's been in the top 10 of the league in batting average throughout the year. He's been batting in the cleanup spot here recently as well, and he's been delivering. As you said, with the home runs, it's a career high for him in home runs. And then defensively, he's been stellar in center field. He's got the quickness that you want. He's got the ability to go track down baseballs in the gap, a number of diving plays throughout the year. So he kind of brings everything to the table for this team. And again, I think you certainly a chance to repeat as first team all-conference the way he has put together a really solid season for UNCW.
Now, the one kid, Benny, you're going to love this kid. You want to talk about a big-time masher. Tanner Thatch, sophomore at 6'4", 220. Benny, the kid has already set the single season and all-time home run records as a sophomore.
As a sophomore, huh?
Unheard of.
But they had a very good year there this year.
26 dingers this year. Unbelievable.
Mike, how many top 20 teams did they beat this year? I know they beat NC State a couple games.
Yeah.
Beat Coastal Carolina when they were ranked. I think they beat Campbell is up there too, right?
Yeah, beat Campbell, swept the Fighting Camels, beat Wake Forest. So Wake Forest was ranked 12th at the time.
Wow.
So a number of midweek wins for them that really helped bolster and build their resume, if you will.
Yeah.
For an at-large bid. But you talk about Tanner Thatch and what he's doing at the plate. I talked to the coaches a week or so ago, and I asked them if they expected this type of year when they recruited him, and they said, to be honest, we recruited him more as a pitcher.
Wow.
He was an outstanding pitcher at high school, but last year as a freshman, he set the freshman record with 15 home runs. This year, the single season record with 26. As you said, the career record already, not even through his full sophomore season. So he's been outstanding, and he's the first baseman, and he's stellar defensively as well. He's picked a lot of baseballs that maybe would be errors if somebody else is over there at first base. So, we talk so much about his power and his home runs, but his defense is really outstanding as well. And again, should be first team all conference and maybe a chance to be player of the year this year, the way that he has put together a complete season.
Yeah, sure.
And also selected out of high school, 18th round by the San Francisco Giants in 2022. And his little tidbit, Benny, one of your favorite Yankees of all time, his great uncle was Catfish Hunter.
Really? Wow.
So his great uncle. So he's got some lineage there.
He does.
Lineage, yeah.
He comes from a good area, I think, between Catfish Hunter. I think maybe Gaylord Perry kind of is around that area somewhat. So baseball, where he grew up, is has some good lineage behind it.
Yeah. And there's a couple more players that we'll be looking at this week. We're going to be lucky enough. I know, Mike, you got us some passes for the tournament this week. Really appreciate that. My producer Tony's going to be going. Joni's going to be going with me. Benny's going to head up one day. Is it Jack or Jock Kroom? How exactly?
Jack Kroom.
Jack Kroom
is again like Trevor. He's a redshirt senior, so he's been around. He's a Wilmington kid as well. UNCW, going to UNCW is kind of in his bloodlines. His family members, a number of them went to UNCW, but he is again at third base, as good as they come. An all-conference performer at third base, and he's been hovering around 300 with his bat. Kind of a slower start to the year, but has picked it up. But for him, career highs, I think, this year with home runs as well, and what he's doing. And recently, the last couple of weeks, he's been the leadoff hitter, and he's been a great table setter for UNCW, and he's had a couple of leadoff home runs in the series against William & Mary a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, Jack Kroom is definitely one of the key components, and we have Kroom at third, Tanner Thatch at first base. So, the corner positions defensively are very solid for UNCW.
Yeah, and the other player who was, I think, last year an all-CAA honorable mention is Alec DiMartino, who had another fine year, 289, 7 homers, 36 RBIs. So, He factored in a lot on the offense this year.
Yeah, his strikeouts are a little bit higher than I think he and the coaches would like. But then again, when he's getting that ball in play, good things are happening. He's hitting home runs. He's driving in runs. He's also very good defensively in right field as well. So, these guys are champs from a year ago. Last year they won the regular season and the tournament championship. They went to Conway to play in the Coastal Carolina Regional, and you have most of these guys back. So they had that taste of going through the CA tournament, going through an NCAA regional, and those guys are back knowing that, okay, this is a team potentially that can make that next step. It's a program, UNCW, that's never been to a super regional yet, but a lot of pieces are in place that have had a lot of success and could be the team that maybe gets them over the hump and into the next level.
Now, as we spoke before, before we came on live, I would talk to you about Tanner Thatch and in baseball as it relates to basketball and football with transfers. And I'm thinking if he lights it up, in the playoffs and they do go to regional or lucky enough to make it to a super regional and he puts up big numbers and his power numbers translate, I have to think that one of the bigger programs, a big SEC team like an LSU or Georgia, is someone is going to be coming sniffing around to get this kid as a sophomore. He'll have one more year before he could be draft eligible again his third year in college. Is that something that you think, Coach Hood could be worried about, down the line?
I think as a college coach, everybody's worried about that, at this level, because you've got good talent, you recruit them, you build that relationship, and you develop them, and then you have a Tanner Thatch that develops the way he has, and I'm sure there's other coaches in other leagues that they're maybe looking at him and thinking what he can bring to their program. I think what UNCW has is it's a family. Again, that building that relationship is important. Tanner Thatch comes from a smaller community, so I'd be surprised if he's wooed by other people, but you just never know. College athletics right now, it makes it easy to transfer and go on to a different opportunity. And, if a coach kind of comes around and tries to see if he can be part of their program, you just never know. Personally, I don't think that would happen for Tanner Thatch, but again, just looking at college athletics right now, and the landscape is just a lot different than it was even 5 years ago.
Agreed. The pride of Belvedere, North Carolina.
That's right.
There. And then we've got Benny. It all starts with pitching, right? I mean, we all know that, come playoff time in Major League Baseball, and I'm thinking in college as well, that ultimately your top pitchers can shut down the hitters. And you've got three really good ones here, Mike, to start off with. RJ Sales, they're going to ride RJ Sales, I think, but they've got some other starters as well, along with a very accomplished closer.
Yeah, RJ Sales is the Friday starter. As a freshman, he was a Friday starter. Last year, he was out with an elbow injury and surgery, came back and just assumed that Friday starting position once again. He led the league with 9 wins this year, and he's done a great job and really setting the table and setting the weekend. You play a 3-game series in college in conference play, so you want to win Friday. Gives you a chance to give you 2 games to win one more game and win that series, and he's done that a lot of times. So, again, I would think that he would be first team all conference this year, again, leading the league in wins with 9. The Saturday starter has been Jacob Schaefer. He's been a little up and down, but games that he hasn't won, some of the times he hasn't gotten the offense. Right. This is a team that toward the back end of the season had a lot of offense, but he didn't always get it when he was on the mound. Okay. The games that he did, and he pitched well, he's a guy that keeps the ball down, so he's getting 10 or more ground outs, and that's a good sign. The defense plays behind him. Games speed up because, hey, you're pitching to contact. Those guys behind they got to be ready. So he's had a nice season. And then Zane Taylor, he's always been the Sunday starter in his career, and it's been a good spot for him. He's a junior now. He's end of the season, a little arm soreness, so he hasn't pitched as much, but he's been rested here the last couple of weeks, so I think he'll be ready to go for the conference tournament here coming up as well.
And I think we have some video. I think it might be of Jacob Schaefer, the number 2 starter. A couple of strikeouts here that we've seen, but and you got to talk about the closer, right? Because he's coming in there and he's mop up duty with UNC Wilmington. He's pitched very, very well. He's very accomplished. I know he's had a ton of appearances. Luke Craig. So anything you can maybe give us on Luke Craig as we get it now. Real quick, Mike, you're playing a 3-game series. Is Luke Craig available through this entire playoff? Or are they going to basically, through the championships, are they going to rest him? Or is he going to be available to pitch in every game? How does Coach Hood utilize him?
Well, I'm sure he wants to pitch in every game. I don't think he will, but a couple of weeks ago, he got the win in relief at North Carolina State with 4 innings of relief.
Okay.
And then he got the saves in the first 2 games against Campbell, pitching on Friday and on Saturday as well. So I'm sure he wants to pitch and be involved as much as he can. And I think that's probably one of the things as a coaching staff between Randy Hood, the head coach, and Kelly Seacrest, the pitching coach. Okay, you have this guy who can probably pitch every day, but how do you manage him? How do you manage his innings and his outings out there? So that'll be interesting to see, obviously, because he's been outstanding. He's a lefty, hard thrower, tops out around 94, 95. Just a heart of a champion right now, and he wants the ball every time. Again, that week that he had, he was co-pitcher of the week in the league off of that because, again, he in tight games, he wanted the ball. It was a tight game Friday against Campbell. He wanted the ball at the end. It was a tight game on Saturday. He wanted the ball at the end. So, as a coach, hey, you got to love that, right? The kid wants to be on the mound. He wants to help out this team. So it's almost like, you've got to just manage him because he wants to be there every time, but you got to make sure that he's available when you need him throughout this weekend for sure.
Benny, can you turn on that 94-mile-an-hour fastball still?
Not right now, no. Maybe a few years ago, but I played against Hofstra. Hofstra was one of the teams we played with when I played at CW Post. We played Hofstra.
Yeah. But who was the pitcher you guys played against, Ben, back in college? Or was it Viola or something like that?
Frankie Viola.
Frank Viola.
Against, yeah. I played. He went to St. John's. I played against him in high school. He went to East Meadow. I went to Lawrence.
Okay.
So I got to see him, in high school, and I played against him in college.
Now, Mike, UNCW, if they do get through this, they're going to have to get through 2 very tough teams. Yeah. You've got Charleston, who was number 1, 39-12 overall. I mean, 21-5 in the conference, and I guess they only lost 3. I don't know how many games. I think something like 3 games on the road. Tony's going to have to get it up there for us. Tremendous there, and then you've got Northeastern, the team that finished 3rd, and I'm going to say they might have the best player or the best hitter in the league in Tyler McGregor. 405 average. He's top 50 nationally. Kid's got an 802 slugging percentage. Unbelievable. So they're going to have to really go through some difficult teams to win the CAA this year.
Yeah, I mean, Charleston, you talk about them, they were preseason number 3. It was Northeastern, UNCW, then Charleston. So it was still the top 3 at the end of the season, just mixed up a little bit. But a team that certainly got hot toward the end of the season as well. They took 2 out of 3 at UNCW early on the season and made it a tight race at the top. And UNCW went into the last weekend just a half game up on them. UNCW went 1-2 at Delaware, and Charleston ended up sweeping at Elon. So that was the difference in why Charleston won the regular season championship. So it's a very good team. They got good pitching. They've got some veteran guys as well, as you mentioned, for that team. And then Northeastern is a team that's really built on pitching. Mike Glavin, who's Tom Glavin's brother, he's the head coach of Northeastern, so he knows a little something about pitching. Yeah. So it's built on pitching, but then you have McGregor, you have other guys, Sirota. You have a good core there that's been around and been together. And for UNCW Northeastern, they've kind of met a lot recently in the CAA tournament. UNCW beat the Huskies last year. Last time the CAA tournament was at Brooksfield in Wilmington, it was Northeastern beating UNCW in extra innings for the championship. So those teams have good coaches. Chad Holbrook could be the coach of the year for Charleston. Mike Lavin, Randy Hood, veteran coaches that have been in this league now for a while, and they know what it takes to win this tournament as well. So not just good players, but coaches that know how to navigate going from, if it's Northeastern, you're starting Wednesday. If it's Charleston and UNCW, you're starting Thursday. But you know how to make your way through this conference tournament for sure.
Now, a good friend of the show, Rob, out there, who always asks us questions, his nephew, actually a reliever the last 3 years at Northeastern by the name of Owen Langen, a left-handed reliever, a really, really good pitcher, graduated last year. So Rob's definitely up on CAA baseball. Now, maybe you can let everyone know out there, it starts on Wednesday. Yes. But, give everyone, I know we talked about the opening round matches on Wednesday, but where they can see UNCW play. I know it's Thursday night. It's double elimination. Maybe explain that. And also when we get into the tournament, I know Monday is going to be the selection show. You let us know that. It's going to be 16 regionals, and maybe explain how that's broken down to the super regionals and ultimately into the Omaha for the College Baseball World Series.
Yeah, starting this week, as you said, Thursday it'll be the bottom four teams will play. Excuse me, Wednesday the bottom four teams will play. That'll feed into games on Thursday. 3 games on Thursday. The first game on Thursday will actually be an elimination game. The 2 losers from Wednesday will play 11 a.m. on Thursday. So one team will be gone, after the 3rd game. Charleston then plays at 3 o'clock. UNCW plays at 7 o'clock. If seeds hold up, UNCW in all likelihood would play the 3 seed Northeastern. But again, seeds don't always hold up in a conference tournament. And it goes in through Saturday. Saturday at 5 o'clock would be the championship game. You'll have an undefeated team against a team with a loss. If the undefeated team loses, then there will be a winner-take-all game on Sunday afternoon. So the first championship game would be Saturday. It could end on Saturday. If not, Sunday would be when it would end. Everything has to end, not just the CAA, but across the country on Sunday, because as you said, Monday is a selection show. I think it's noontime on ESPN2. And it's 16 regionals, 16 4-team regionals. All those regionals are double elimination. So you have one winner by the end of it that will feed into 8 super regionals. So that leaves 16 teams left in those 8 super regionals. Those winners of the 8 super regionals will head to Omaha, and through the course of 2 weeks, basically, they'll play double elimination. The last 2 teams left in Omaha play the best out of 3 series to determine a champion. So a lot of baseball the next couple of weeks. If you love college baseball, this is your time of year, because and ESPN and some other outlets have done a great job to really show how big this sport has become. For the CAA, it's going to be on Flow Sports that people can watch all the games. Folks in the area or those that have the Sunrise Radio app on their phone, they can listen to all the UNCW games. I'll be on the call for those games throughout this tournament and throughout the postseason, however long it goes. So, a lot of teams will be watching on Monday, even like we said, a chance for Charleston, Northeastern, and UNCW all to get in. If they don't win this conference tournament, they all have a chance, I think, potentially to be an at-large team. And one of the latest projections show that all 3 will be playing. So we'll see if those projections hold. And, obviously upsets in other tournaments sometimes ruin those projections and take away at-large opportunities. But again, I think a lot of these teams, these 3 teams, feel like their resumes are solid enough to get a look for the NCAA tournament, whether they win the CAA championship or not.
Well, I know that Commissioner D'Antonio is hoping for 3.
Yeah.
And I just think the league this year, Ben, we're talking, I think the league's strength has been very good at the top, especially battling ACC traditional powerhouses. The fact that UNCW goes out and wins takes 2 from NC State, a couple weeks ago, and that they get that publicity on ESPN with that great defensive catch. I think it opens up people's eyes, and I think the CAA can make a run. And let's hope that UNCW makes it to the super regionals. I'd like to see any team from the CAA make it, Mike, but it would be really special if it could be our Seahawks. And, listening to you on the call of the games would be outstanding. And my hope is that we get with, Coach Hood next week. Once the pairings are announced, and if they make it, which I hope they will, we can maybe get a quick interview with you and the coach, prior to them going to the regionals. That would be outstanding if we can make that happen.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I think they feel like their resume is really good. You mentioned wins over the ACC. I think in a 3-week span, the CAA was 8-0 against the ACC in Tuesday night games. So not just UNCW. Campbell had some big wins. Charleston has some big wins. So, the CAA has been very good. A lot of people thought with Campbell join the league, that would certainly help get 3 teams in. But Campbell didn't even make it to the conference tournament this year. Shows you how good it is and their transition, their first year in the league, going from the Big South to the CAA. CAA just a little step up from the Big South, I think, and just a level of competition when you look at on the baseball field. So it should be an interesting week in the CAA tournament here in Wilmington, and then beyond that, the NCAA regionals for sure.
Well, hey, Mike, quick question though for Mike. So you're saying that is that an automatic bid if you win your tournament?
So in basketball,
just like in basketball, okay.
Yep,
that's why you
get the automatic bid.
Yeah. That's why you're saying that if there's other upsets in other tournaments, it could take it away from UNCW or Northeastern or
those bid stealers. So you got to hope
We just
these
win.
other
We got to just
tournaments,
win.
It's the top seeds
Just
that
win, baby.
We just
win.
win.
Exactly,
Just
exactly.
win, and
Just
we're
win your
in.
conference tournament.
Win, and
don't
you're
really
in.
Give up the chance.
That's
Now,
right.
Do we have any questions at all, John?
No.
No questions? Okay, well, Mike, we hope to hear you this week, this weekend, and beyond once the regionals hit, and hopefully in the super regionals again. Mike Vaccaro, host of the Front Row podcast, and also the voice of the Seahawks basketball and baseball broadcast. We'll be hearing him this week. I'll catch up with Mike this week to pick up our tickets for the tournament. We're looking forward to really going out there and looking forward to meeting you, Mike. And let's hope that next week we have you and the coach on for a 15-minute interview, going to one of the regionals and playing a team and making their trek and making it for the first time to the super regionals. So we thank you so much for taking a few minutes out tonight, and we'll be hearing from you this week.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Absolutely. We'll be back more with Benny the Book. We're talking a little NHL, NBA, and a little PGA Championship talk when we return.
Locals Tavern, Leland, North Carolina's favorite neighborhood bar, just south of the bridge where everyone truly does know your name, offers a variety of cold brews, wine, and specialty cocktails, and offers something for everyone on their food menu. With daily lunch specials and live evening entertainment, Locals is a hot spot you won't want to miss, where you can unwind in a casual atmosphere with friends, both old and new.
All right, we're back. Swartz Talkin Sports. This is Les Swartz. And I've got Benny the Book, the King of Carolina, with us. We just had Mike Vaccaro, voice of the UNCW Seahawks basketball and baseball. He's going to be a pretty busy guy this week, Ben.
Can't wait to go see that Saturday championship game, man.
Yeah, let's just hope the weather. Let's hope the weather holds out this week and this weekend, and we can all the Swartz Talkin Sports team can head down there and show some support to our hometown Seahawks. Benny, so much going on in the world of sports the last few days, the last couple of weeks. It was set up perfect for a New York Boston extravaganza, right?
Yes, it was.
It could have been the Rangers Bruins for the right to the cup, and it could have been the Knicks Celtics to go to the NBA championship. One team held serve in one sport, the other team in the other.
Yeah. Well, and the Knicks gave it their all. There was nothing they could do about that. I mean, injury after injury just piled up on them. And Indiana's a talented team that they have a lot of players.
They do.
So they just, I just think it was they wore them down. They just wore the Knicks down. I mean, the Knicks had guys playing that didn't play the whole year. Burks sat on the end of the bench. He played very well, but I mean, they're two big men. Robinson getting hurt on that play with Philadelphia.
And Randall was out at the end of the year and never played in the playoffs.
Randall never played. I mean, he's there. Him and Brunson were 1 and 1A. That's what you need. Two scorers. Those were their two scorers.
Well, here's what they did though. But Benny, here's what they did do. They found Brunson. They found a leader who finished 5th in the MVP balloting. He wasn't at the beginning of the year anywhere near the top 20. Right?
I couldn't believe what they paid him when they paid him. And I watched him at Villanova. He was a very good player, but nothing like, I mean, he was an MVP. He was an MVP. He could have been an MVP this year.
Well, listen, they got the Villanova 3. You all of a sudden have the emergence of Dante DiVincenzo, who was tremendous at Villanova, got drafted by the Bucks, kind of sat the bench a little bit, and really emerged as a really go-to guy in the playoffs, a second scorer. And then Josh Hart played tremendous.
Unbelievable. Right?
So, and
guy
there were
is
rumors,
tough.
Ben, there were rumors out there. I don't want to get your hopes up here, but they're talking about Donovan Mitchell maybe making the switch from he wants to go play at MSG.
He's a local boy.
He's a local boy. Can you imagine him and Brunson in the backcourt?
There's a couple of guys that they were mentioning. You won't know until after the draft, and in the next 30 days, there'll be guys. They're going to want to come to New York.
Yeah.
Normally they don't want to come to New York. With Brunson there now, they all love the coach.
Tibbs has done a great job with them.
Thibodeau's a great coach. He's won wherever he's gone. There are complaints that he wears guys out, but he had no choice. He had to play those guys. He didn't have anybody to play. You know, he lost too many guys.
Well,
And
now the Pacers move on to play the number 1 seed. Listen, the Celtics won 60-plus games this year. They were the best team in the NBA.
They're the prohibitive favorites against. I mean, I would take a shot with them. I'm sure they're getting a lot. Indiana. I would take a shot with Indiana in that series.
Do you think they can push the Celtics to maybe 6 games?
I think they could win the series.
Do you think they can
Really?
upset the Celtics?
Sure.
Wow. Well, listen, the Celtics are good for one stinker. You know, in game 2 or 3, they're going to get blown out by double digits, 15 to 20 points. I don't know why. It just has happened. It happened the first 2 series this year. Porzingis is the key, I think, Benny, to them winning a championship. You know, if they have to play a team like Minnesota, who's got Rudy Gobert at 7'4" or 7'3", you've got Karl Anthony Towns at 7 feet, you got Naz Reid coming off the bench at 6'11". You're gonna have to have size. You cannot go in there with Al Horford, who's done a tremendous job with the Celtics, but come on. The guy's been around a long time.
He's been around a long time.
He's been around a long time. He's a good three-point shooter. He stretches out the defense a little bit, but you're not going to rely on him to go 25, 30 minutes.
Porzingis, they definitely need Porzingis. He's a key. Indiana, if he can't play, you know, they could steal some games, and they could make a series of it.
Siakam's tough down low. That was a great trade to get him from Toronto. Ben, what do you make of Denver last night at home?
I got to tell you,
20-point lead.
They always talk about teams coming into Denver, and with the altitude, they run out of gas. Last night, Denver was the team that ran out of gas. Yeah. And I went to bed when they were up 20. I said, there's no way Minnesota's winning this game. And when I woke up this morning,
who did I tell you was going to win the game, Ben? Did I not say Minnesota?
You said Minnesota. Yes, you did say Minnesota.
I did say Minnesota.
But you said a lot of other things too.
I do. We don't count the things I do wrong.
You said Boston was going to lose. You were right on that thing.
I did. Well, we're gonna get to that series with the Bruins,
but
which
I think
crazy.
I think it's you got some really talent. Indiana won the in-game tournament.
Yeah,
you know, they beat the Lakers.
Halliburton's a great young player out of Iowa State. Really good point guard.
McConnell is a tough young. Oh man,
he's JJ Redick.
They would talk about him today. He's like I don't even think he's 6 foot.
Yeah.
But he makes these incredible shots. So very, very similar to Brunson.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. He doesn't like to shoot from the outside, but Brunson shoots from all over. But he made some drives against the Knicks and you know, great passes. Really, really. They got some talented ball players.
But so you get Denver last night that in a bizarre series. The first 2 games they lose at home, they get blown out. Then they go on the road, blow out Minnesota, win 3 in a row, and then finish up losing 2 in a row. Game 7 at home. Denver gets 90 points the entire game, 69 by Jokic and by Murray combined. And they both shot under 50%. It wasn't like and they had the 20-point third quarter lead. Michael Porter Jr., nowhere to be found.
No way, yeah, right.
Aaron Gordon, nothing. I think he had 4 points.
You know, the average winning score in that game was like over 20 points.
Which is insane, and it's crazy.
It was like, you know, you thought once they won 2 in Denver, you thought Minnesota was a lock.
Yep.
And then Denver goes and wins 3 in a row and blows them out, and they come back.
What do you think about them in Dallas? You're going to have Jokic, so you're going to have Doncic go up against Anthony Edwards, a tremendously talented young player,
great defensive player too.
Not only all-around player.
I mean, you know, he does it all.
Yeah.
He does it all. He's
who do you like?
I would have to go with Minnesota. They beat Denver. I thought Denver was going to win it all. I know Kyrie play. I don't like Kyrie Irving. So
the earth's flat with him. So
yeah, I just don't like him. But and Doncic, he's got a great game. He cries. He cries too much. He cries about everything.
He does.
He cries about everything.
He does.
So
he just
Minnesota. I'm gonna say Minnesota, Indiana.
Okay.
In the finals.
You're really picking the Pacers to take down the Celtics.
Yep.
Wow. I think Jason Tatum, I think this is his time
There's
to elevate his game to be a top 1 or 2 player. I think he's been a perennial all-star since he got out of Duke. He's in the MVP discussion. Jaylen Brown, rides, shotgun with him. I think
a lot of pressure on Boston.
There is a lot of pressure on Boston. Listen, Benny, there are people that saying if the Celtics do not win the championship, Joe Mazzulla is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. So,
and what was this? This would be the 3rd year they've been to the championship.
This would be second straight championship year, and then they lost in the finals to Golden State a couple 3 years ago during the COVID whole thing, and they lost that series. So Celtics have been, I think, 6 straight Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, a great run. Yes. Brad Stevens, a great GM, has done an incrable job building that team.
They're talented. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's just something, like you said, Jason Tatum, he's got to make that step, He plays great for three quarters, and then all of a sudden kind of disappears a little bit in the fourth quarter.
Worst field goal percentage of his career in the fourth quarter. If something happens, and I talk about with John, one of our listeners, and Johnny Greyhound. Everyone knows Johnny Greyhound out there, but John's the same way. When they play selfless basketball and they pass the ball, they're tremendous. But then they go to this ISO game late in the game, and for some unknown reason, their leads dissipate. They have a 15-point lead. It goes down to 3, and they go one-on-one, and they just forget what they did to get the lead, and they just completely fall apart. So, listen, you're picking Indiana. You're going out on a limb there. I think the Pacers can steal a couple of games, but ultimately, I like the Celtics against Minnesota. I think the Celtics get it done. They raised their first banner since the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen days in 2008 against the Lakers. NHL, real quick. I'm going with the Rangers.
Okay,
it's Rangers all the way. Original 6. I'm going with your New York Rangers to win it all.
If Vancouver wins tonight, I got the 4 teams that are playing each other. So I have to have the Stanley Cup winner. I bet the Rangers, I bet Florida, I bet Vancouver, and I bet Dallas.
That's why they call you the book.
Yep.
That's why they call you the
tonight
book.
is a big game. I win the Stanley Cup tonight if Vancouver wins.
Well, I'm going to tell you, they got blitzed the other night at Edmonton. 5-1. They get 15 shots on net against Skinner, who they put back in the net.
And watch what happens tonight. Tonight they'll have 45 shots on goal, and
I think Talkit's going to have those guys flying. The fans going to be jacked up. Listen, the one thing you got to guard against, though, Edmonton's got that. They got McDavid, they got Draisaitl. Okay,
they got
Hyman, 50+ goals. Yeah. If they jump on top of Vancouver quick and get 1 or 2 quick ones, it could change things. But I think Vancouver can win this thing. I like Quinn.
They've been up there. Yeah, they've been up there all year long. Yeah. They people thought, it was at the beginning they had that big long winning streak. They thought, they're going to fall apart, but they stayed up there the whole year. They stayed up there.
What do you make of the Bruins?
Well, if you score 2 goals a game, you ain't winning many games.
Well, according to Don Sweeney, the Bruins go for quality shots. It's like, okay, we're going for like 9 shots a game.
Yeah, that's true.
What a moronic statement that was.
The other day, I think it was Boston. It might have been Boston. No, it was Zibanejad, the Rangers. Yeah. When in one game against, I forgot who it was, he was right in front of the goalie, 2 feet away, and he tried to pass it away. He was right in front of the goalie. Shoot the puck.
Yeah, sometimes these guys try to, just Boston, get the puck on net, force it.
Boston has great goaltending.
Yeah, Swayman cemented himself. He's the number. He's good. He's tremendous.
Swayman played tremendous.
Yeah,
and they just couldn't score.
Well, listen, Marchand, that was a very controversial thing. The fact that we saw the replays, and I saw the replay of Bennett getting around and punching him in the side of the head and giving him a concussion, that the NHL didn't discipline him. He didn't even get a penalty on the play.
Nope.
I mean, you're going to tell me Toronto looked at that from all the angles? We saw it.
Yeah.
They did not see that. And I got to tell you, Joni can attest to this. I'm watching the game the other night. I'm screaming like some kind of a crazy banshee. I got the dog going crazy, jumping on Joni. The dog's got her paws covering her ears. I'm going cuckoo. I'm having a heart attack here. I'm almost glad that the Bruins are out of it because I don't think I could take another series, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you got to learn to relax.
I know. I've got to learn it. I know. I got to take a Xanax or something.
So it's going to be Dallas and the Rangers.
I think Dallas probably has. I think Dallas
And
the
the Rangers are going to win.
Well, hold on.
Gary Bush will be having his ride down Oleander with his big Ranger banner.
He's stupid. Listen, Gary's too busy raking sand traps at this time. Okay, so he's not going to be rooting for anybody. But I will say this much: I think the Rangers are really, really good. I think they're built for the playoffs. I think Dallas might have the deepest team. I mean, they get 3 lines that can score goals. I think you're right. The 2 best goalies left are Ottinger with Dallas and Shesterkin with the Rangers when they're on their games, Benny. They're the 2 of the top 5 best goalies in the league. I'd love to see an original 6 win this thing, but I got to say, I'm taking Dallas out of the West. Whoever wins this Vancouver series, I'm taking Dallas. I'm taking the Rangers. I'm hoping the Rangers beat the Panthers. I cannot stand Paul Maurice. I don't like the Panthers. I don't like hockey in Florida. I want the Rangers to whitewash them in 4 straight. I think it'll be a 6-game series, and I like Dallas in 7 over the Rangers. What do you think of that?
Good pick.
Of course, it's a
Rangers,
good pick.
The Rangers are going to win.
The Rangers are going to win. All right. So before we go, real quick, and talk about Wednesday show, because we have a daily double this week. We have a really good show Wednesday, and let's hope our guest shows up on Wednesday night. We got to confirm today, so let's just hope this works on Wednesday.
Mike Malarkey, huh?
No. His son, Patrick.
Son.
Before we get to that, PGA, Xander Schauffele. You can no longer say the best golfer who has never won a major. He steps up, 17th hole, 18th hole.
That was some finish. That was a shootout right from. They were all blazing. They were. I mean, it was a great last 9 holes.
Ben, if that's me and I got a 5-foot putt to win, you know what would have happened? I would have 4-putted that thing. You know it.
Yeah, you would have done what my man Hovland did. He could have made the putt, and he would have possibly been in the playoff.
He had a shot, but you know something? He bounced back, and then so DeChambeau, we don't get to see him a lot because he's with Liv. I mean, my God, the guy is crushing the golf ball, and I kind of like his personality. He really has changed a little bit, Ben.
He has changed. He
He congratulated Scheffler. I mean, Schauffele, tremendous.
He's off the roids. He's off the roids.
Still hitting the ball a country mile, though, isn't he?
Yeah, just like you at 8-iron, 220 yards.
Yeah, I can't hit a driver 220 yards. That guy's unbelievable.
You hit a pitching wedge 160, so your 8-iron goes about 200.
But if I get the pitching wedge on the green,
you and Doug. The long drive.
You're going to bring Doug into this show. He's not going to be too happy about that. Listen, real quick. Your thoughts on the whole Scotty Scheffler thing? Because that was crazy to me when I woke up Friday morning and I see he's being arrested.
Yeah, I saw that in the morning, just when it was right after it was happening. The ESPN guy that was right next to him,
Jeff Darlington.
Yes, he was right there. I mean, he got out of the car. Something was wrong with this police officer. I got to tell you, I don't know the full story, but from what I heard and believe is this guy just had some kind of rage or something, because he grabbed him out of the car. Darlington said Scheffler never raised his voice. Yes, the guy may have told him to stop, and he was going for 10 yards.
It's raining. It's
10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And they were told that they could get in. That if you were a golfer, you were able to be let in.
Right.
So how could this guy? He had a PGA Tour.
He did.
Emblem on the side of his car.
He had the credentials. He had the
I just think this officer got a little carried away and then got pissed off, and they made it sound later on he went to the hospital. He was injured. I didn't see that. But we'll find out. Well, tomorrow he gets arraigned.
No,
tomorrow.
It's not. It's been pushed back to June 3rd.
Oh yeah, when did you hear that?
Just literally before we went on the air, so it's been pushed back to June 3rd that he has to go, and he's facing 4 counts, one felony.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to appear. His lawyer.
His lawyer's probably going to appear in his. I think he's going to be let off. I think this whole thing's a misunderstanding. He'll probably
the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour is meeting with Yeah, the PGA Tour will say, yeah, we'll give you $100,000.
But here's the thing, Ben, though, right? He goes to jail. He spends like an hour in jail. He's watching himself on the TV, goes out and birdies the first hole. Goes out and shoots. Now, he blew up in the third, did not have a good third round, but bounced back yesterday and shoots a 6 under.
There were other reasons. He didn't have his caddy that day, Saturday. He was not there.
Exactly.
He was at his daughter's graduation.
Right.
It was a lot of things, and the adrenaline probably was going. He probably was pumped up when he got out of the jail and he made it there. And, and the fans they said the ovation he got on the first hole was like no other ovation.
Free Scotty. It was free Scotty. Free Scotty. Well, listen, we had a pretty good show tonight. We had to do it on the fly. We got thrown a curveball, but I think Mike Vaccaro knocked it out of the park. So everyone out there, we're going to be back. Well,
Seawolves, right? Let's go Seawolves.
Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Something. You're not going to be allowed to go to the games if you call them.
No, I'm gonna have to check and see what the odds are.
You have to check the odds.
Put some money on them.
We're going to roll. Listen, by the way, Wednesday, we have Patrick Malarkey, regional scout for the Detroit Lions coming on. It's going to be a great show.
Great show.
Everybody wants to talk to a scout. They want to find out what's going on with the draft.
You want to talk to the Detroit Lions, one of the top teams in the NFC.
Exactly. They're one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl this year. Now, Ben, we're doing something a little different. Wednesday, we're going 8 o'clock Eastern time, not 7. We're going to try to get our Central viewers, our West Coast viewers in, and give everyone a little bit more time to maybe hop on the show. So let's do 8 o'clock this Wednesday, the 22nd. Patrick Malarkey, area scout with the Detroit Lions. We'll see you and Al on Wednesday night. I'm going to be back with a quick wrap, but Ben, we'll see you Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Good night, everyone, and see you Wednesday night.
All right, we'll be back with the wrap after this.
High Tide Chiropractic, located in Leland, North Carolina, off Village Road. Dr. Levi Bradburn and his team specialize not only on spinal and extremities care, but also focus on sports injuries and a variety of chronic ailments. Treatment plans may include diet and lifestyle behavioral modification to achieve optimal health. Call us to schedule your free consultation, and we will design a personalized program to meet your needs. It's time to get the results you deserve.
Welcome back to Swartz Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Les Swartz. Again, special thanks to Mike Vaccaro, UNCW Voice Radio on the Breeze and ESPN Radio, baseball and basketball broadcast. He'll be doing it this week down at Brooks Field for the CAA Baseball Championships. First game start May 22nd on Wednesday. Let's hope UNCW is in the championship game and takes it all home on Saturday or Sunday. For Benny the Book. Listen, we'll be here Wednesday night, 8 o'clock new time. Patrick Malarkey, area scout with the Detroit Lions. That's right. He was responsible for the last 2 number 1 draft picks of the Lions. They're one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl in 2024-25. So Pat Malarkey, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. For Tony Smeraldi, for Joni, and everyone here at Swartz Talkin Sports, this is Les Swartz. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you Wednesday, 8 p.m.